Hey, Scott.
Hey, what's that?
What do you do when your cat dies?
I don't know. What do you do when your cat dies?
You play with your neighbor's pussy instead.
This, my friends, is the Swish Edition. From their secret underground studio, this is the Swish Edition.
I got a mouthful for you guys.
Dale and Scott are in the studio on the mics, and they fired up the antenna.
It has to come whether you like it or not.
And if you're willing to show it, they'll take a picture of it.
I actually think I might throw up.
Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else in between, here are your new best friends. They're your
It's
hosts,
very exciting for me because this is the best show ever made.
Dale and Scott.
Back. November 2nd. It's for some places, it's election day. Off year.
That's right.
Virginia.
That's the only one they're talking about.
Virginia, they're also talking about the mayor's race in New York City. That's a big one today.
Oh.
We'll be monitoring that and see what happens.
I think the governor's race in Virginia is more important than the mayor's race in New York City, but I don't live in New York City or Virginia, so...
Well, I actually think there are more people living in New York City than there are in the entire state of Virginia. So
That's true, but I think a governor's race outlines what's coming next year.
and I think it's very clear by polls anyway that the Democratic candidate for the mayor's race in New York is probably going to win. I think he's overwhelmingly winning in that race. But Virginia, landslide, not landslide, 50-50 last count.
Basically. You know what's weird is that my iPhone calendar, right? What is it? It's 2021, right? Last
is.
time I checked my watch.
Yes,
and
it is.
My calendar says tomorrow is election day.
It is, it is election day. Not for us, though. Not
Yeah,
here.
but that's not the election day they're talking about. It's the second Tuesday in November. They're talking about
Big time elections.
big time election day. I feel like as 2021 that they could create some sort of thing to let me know that is not election day
For you.
for me
All right, because we don't live in Virginia.
and for most of the country.
There you go. Anyway, we'll find out later tonight who wins, I guess. Or maybe not. In this modern day age, you don't find out who wins on the day of.
Might not.
It's all the absentee shit and early voting shit and contests, got to recount them 85 times.
I don't know why we talk politics. It's never
We're not talking
good.
politics.
We are talking.
Well, because it's November 2nd. It's election day for
It's
some
not.
of our folks.
We don't need to talk about it. They're getting enough of it in the news.
What do you do when your cat dies? Play with your neighbor's pussy. I love that. Isn't that fun?
Here, kitty, kitty.
Hey, we had a Halloween party this weekend. Imagine that.
Yeah.
You weren't invited. Actually, maybe someone that's listening was invited. I don't know.
No, I think everyone who was invited showed up.
Yeah, but does anyone
No,
who's
that's
listening...
not true. That's not true.
Did anyone who was at our party listen to our show? That was the question. So maybe they were invited.
Oh.
The
no.
vast majority of the people listening were not invited.
Everyone who was listening was not invited.
Everyone
Because
who
I
was...
know everyone who was here does not listen to the show.
Not even Jacqueline?
No. No one. 100%. 100%.
She's been
guaranteed.
on the show.
I know, but she doesn't listen.
Damn our friends and family.
Bad friend. Bad friend.
Anyway, we had fun. Decorated the hell out of the
Maybe
house.
next year we only invite people who we know listen to the Swish Edition.
We'll only put out our invitation on this show.
I mean, does that mean we have to
I'm not giving out my address
provide airfare and stuff for people to get here?
No.
We are not in a very easy to get to place.
We have a listener in New Zealand, and I would like to call out to that person in New Zealand because there's one person.
And if you're in New Zealand right now listening, you are that one person.
There's one person, according to our provider that puts out our show, there's one person listening to our show in New Zealand on a regular basis.
Nice.
I'd like to know who you are.
The
So
Kiwi. We have a Kiwi.
Yeah, if you could drop us a line at talkback@swishedition.com, I'd appreciate knowing who you are.
Can I just say for where, what places are called where you're from, being known as a Kiwi,
It's pretty damn cool.
I just think it's cool as shit.
It's very cool.
To be known as a Kiwi.
Yeah. I used to work.
I love it.
I used to work
What
with...
are we? We're Americans. And what do people say? Oh, you're American. That's what people say. People don't say that when you're a Kiwi. You can't be sad and say Kiwi in the same face expression.
Well, there's nothing controversial about being from New Zealand. It's one of the happiest, beautiful places on earth.
Well, of course.
All right. So anyway, reach out to us. We want to know who you are. I know you're listening because I can see.
That's where the hobbits are from.
You know, that's where they filmed the movie. I know that we have people listening in India and South Africa. And
it's weird because I see on Binge Bomb I have people in Australia, no one from New Zealand, but I feel like I have some obscure ones and they listen and I don't know why. Because the majority of the services that we talk about on Binge Bomb are not available in their countries. I mean, they may have a few. Like Netflix is probably one of the largest.
Yeah.
But it's fun to see where people are listening from.
Maybe they just like your voice.
Maybe.
Or maybe they just like our pussy jokes. I don't know.
Maybe.
Anyway, there was lots of rants and super woke people talking about Halloween costumes as they want to do around this time of year.
Can I just say, before you start this whole segment, that on Saturday,
which was the day of our party,
the day of the party, the day before Halloween, is we had somehow left MSNBC on
all day
in the afternoon. In the afternoon, no matter what network you're watching, don't watch it because they're all horrible.
Yes,
horrible.
Right.
And there was a whole 40-minute segment on Halloween costume appropriation.
What's appropriate and what's not.
Right.
And apparently that's the word, appropriation. There are things that in the 20th, the early 21st century, you're really not allowed to do. Or at least the woke police don't want you to do it.
Right.
And I don't think a lot of people are listening.
I don't think a lot of people give a shit.
So apparently, and I had a lot of friends post this on social media this past week, about the fact that you're not allowed to do a Halloween costume that in any way invokes heritage or culture that's not your own.
Well, I should be in Halloween jail right now.
Dale did a Day of the Dead costume.
Dias de la Muertes.
Which you have done before. You did it back in 19.
It's my second time, yeah.
You repurposed that costume.
Right. If Shawn Mendes can do it, I feel like I can do it.
Shawn Mendes and Camilo Cabello did Day of the Dead this year.
Yeah. A lot of people I saw with
and they're not canceled.
There's a lot of people. Well, Camila Cabello could be excused because I believe is she Mexican?
Is she Mexican?
I want to say yes.
But we understand, and I know this has gone around a lot, and maybe I wouldn't do it because it's been talked about so much, but a lot of people are saying that you should not be like an Indian chief with the big feather headdress. You shouldn't be an Indian squaw if you're not Indian.
I want someone to tell me why.
I'd like to know why too. So
I know, and I'm honestly asking, and specifically an Indian chief, feathers, headdress. Tell me why. Tell me what offensive thing I've done.
How is that offensive to a potential Indian chief who might be out there?
And I'm seriously asking that question. I want to know. I want to know how that is offensive.
And it's not like if you're dressing up like that you're making fun of the Indian. It's a costume.
Halloween is being something different than you are.
So along those same lines, if you're thinking about strictly heritage and culture, is it bad to dress up as an Eskimo? Or a German Biermeister with your lederhosen and your, what do they call those?
Those places are so much fun, though.
They are fun. What about a Russian nutcracker or a ninja or a bullfighter from Spain? Right. I mean, there's so many things that you might dress up with that you're not completely in tune with because it's not your heritage.
Well, I also agree.
But aren't you honoring them? Well, aren't you honoring them by dressing up as them?
Maybe, but I also agree that Halloween has just gotten too stupid anyway, and it's not as fun as it could be. Halloween is all about the one night where the dead rise, right?
Yes.
And you're supposed to dress as a skeleton, a witch, or a ghost to be able to mix in with the dead people so the dead people can't tell the difference between the living people and you can survive the night.
I think that was...
Can we get back to that?
That was the whole goal.
And you want to know what...
so dressing up as a Russian nutcracker is not going to help your cause that night.
It's stupid. It's stupid is what it is.
What about a zombie Russian nutcracker? What about a zombie Eskimo? You know, even we've talked about this on the show, Eskimo pies. The frozen treat.
My God. Is that the next one that's going?
No, it's already happened. That was 2 years ago. They got rid of that name because the Eskimo people didn't like it. That they were appropriating their name. They still do
down this hole again.
They still do the Indian chop at the Braves game down in Atlanta.
They've been talking about that on the news.
Disability is also not a costume.
All right. I will say that I was on TikTok and I saw someone who came in on a very convincing Stephen Hawking.
Yes.
And okay, I get that. That seems bad.
Going too far in bad taste.
That seems bad taste to me.
Basically, they're saying that society's blatant disregard for disability is not cool when you're dressing up. This is coming mostly from the UK's Changing Faces charity nonprofit, which has launched a campaign against the movie No Time to Die, the big James Bond movie, which is making big bucks because Rami Malek's antagonist character, he's the villain, has a face full of scars. And they're saying that they've made him fearful and negative because of his scars when there are people out there who really have scars and burns and stuff. And it makes them feel bad.
Oh, well, you know what? Everyone's been through something. Everyone has been through something. So does that mean that I can go to the local school district and say something about the father kid day that they have?
Because I
don't have a father.
And you don't have a kid.
Exactly.
I guess I don't know if it's on the same lines, but
no,
yes.
Because if you're gonna do it all the fucking way. Don't nitpick. And that's the reason to get rid of this shit.
But they were saying that it's not cool to go out in a Halloween costume that includes scars or burns or the fake loss of limbs. You know, a lot of people go out and pretend like they don't have an arm. Not even using a walking cane like pimps might want to do. I was a pimp this Halloween. Don't pretend to be blind. Don't do anything. Fat suits are out. Fat suits are out because you're making fun of obese people. You are not allowed to be an Oompa Loompa from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory because you might be making fun of dwarfism, short people. And of course, and I think I might agree with this one small sector, is that you should not darken your skin because that likens to blackface.
Well,
we know blackface is not cool.
I lightened my skin this Halloween.
You did, because you did Day of the Dead. Mental illness is also something that this group is really campaigning against, and they think that horror movies like Friday the 13th, Jason Voorhees, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre's Leatherface, and Halloween's Michael Myers are really making fun of mental illness because all of these characters have a mental illness, which is why they kill people.
No, they're not making fun of it. They're making it fucking scary is what they're trying to do.
Straitjackets are also not allowed.
You don't watch Friday the 13th and laugh. You hide behind the covers.
So I've decided that the only good thing, the only acceptable thing that you can be for Halloween is a pumpkin.
They're going to fucking cancel Halloween.
Is there anything offensive about a pumpkin?
No. But you know what? Vegans?
Yes.
No, I was thinking of something, then I answered your question.
Okay.
So you can't be a pumpkin because of vegans because you're making fun of them.
So both you and I probably went over the line. You were Day of the Dead and I was a pimp, and pimp might be promoting horism, which is horism. Is that a word? Prostitution might be the word.
No. Don't
horism.
Don't change it because it's not a word, but I love it.
Horism is better than prostitution. What line of work you in? Horism. It's about as appropriate as playing with your neighbor's pussy.
I laugh at that, but I actually am for sex work. I don't think the government should be into anything of how you make money.
I think that you and I will agree.
Fuck the government.
I think that you and I agree that there should be no objections or laws that say that two people can't engage in a contract with each other.
Exactly.
Do we not engage in a contract when we get married?
Of course.
Do we not engage in a contract when we buy a car from someone? Do we not engage in a contract when we get on an airplane?
Sex work should be a thing, man.
Why can't I decide with my neighbor that I'm going to give you $100 and you're going to let me play with your pussy?
There you go. I like it. No, it should be
no one else's business except for the two
business.
people involved in the contract.
Exactly.
In related news, NASCAR legend Kyle Busch is under fire for saying...
You said Bush.
I did. He's under fire for saying it's friggin' retarded, man, in response to another driver who he thought was trying to spin him out in Sunday's NASCAR race. So he's getting all kinds of trouble because he said the word retarded.
Stupid.
Which isn't a lot of people's vernacular, I believe. I have said it many times. I've gotten yelled at by my sister because she says it's not appropriate. But it's just a word. I don't think it's as bad as like the N word.
But the thing is that the word retarded has become a word well, maybe not now, but I remember in high school. I mean, you said it constantly.
Right.
Referring to someone who was stupid. You're being silly.
Right. It was
a word that has taken on two meanings.
Right.
And
we weren't referring to an actual person of mental.
If I see someone with a mental disability, obviously I'm probably not going to call that person in the eye and say, "You being retarded, man."
Right. Or you're not going to say,
"I'm talking to my friend who jumped off a whatever and landed and busted his ass. You're being fucking retarded."
You're being retarded.
Right.
Right. It's just a word. I get it. No, I get it. And you should not call someone like with Down syndrome a retard.
People need to calm down.
We get what's cool. And people take this
Swift
too far.
did it right. You need to calm down.
But apparently NASCAR is going to fine Kyle Busch for saying the word retarded during an interview that he did after the race.
Whatever.
You get fined for using a word like that.
Well, of course, because they have to keep a certain public appearance. But considering who I know who watches NASCAR, probably uses that word every day in their life. So everyone's probably in an uproar. So they probably should have done nothing and they would have been fine.
Probably would have just gone away.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there are real problems in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Not retarded. Retarded is not the biggest problem that we have going on right now.
You've made that clear.
Yes. In-N-Out burgers. You've been In-N-Out, right?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Well, we don't love it, but we have fans out there who absolutely love it and fall over backwards to go there, including your sister who loves it. Some of the In-N-Out restaurants in California have decided to close their doors instead of being required to check vaccine cards at the door.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
It's mostly in LA and San Francisco, Northern and Southern California, where they have all the libtards. Can I say libtards? How about that word?
And it's my thing with this is not just because it's a COVID-19 vaccine card check, is that there's overreach. And this goes back to like 3 weeks ago when we talked about that the government of California mandated that big box retailers have a gender neutral toy aisle.
Right. No, we didn't like
Stupid.
that either.
Just close your shit and go.
They're going too far. And we understand that the federal government has mandated mask wearing on planes and airports and in government buildings and stuff, and totally fine with that. They have not, as of yet, the federal government has not made it required for passengers to be vaccinated. You don't have to, when you go to the airport, we're going to the airport, we're flying this Friday.
Right.
We're not going to have to show our vaccine card to get on that airplane.
No.
But you need to show your vaccine card in San Francisco and Los Angeles to go buy a burger at In-N-Out.
Yeah.
Do you know how friggin' ridiculous that is?
It's stupid.
I will say this real quick. And I know you don't like the politics, but I think this is beyond politics. You and I are fully vaccinated. I believe in the vaccines. I also believe that if someone wants me to wear a mask in their establishment, I will wear the mask.
Right.
I'll wear the mask in the airport. I will wear the mask on the airplane. I'll do what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
But the very idea that an In-N-Out fucking hamburger place wants to see my personal information, my personal vaccine card, I think is overreach and ridiculous. And if I own the In-N-Out restaurants, I would fucking close them down too.
I'd be gone.
And I'd leave that fucking state.
Be gone. We never come back.
You've gone too far.
Way too far.
You've gone way too far. I mean, there's lots of shows and theaters and concerts that say, hey, we're fully vaccinated.
Love California. Would live there in a heartbeat, but won't. And it's a shame. It's a shame. One of the most beautiful states in the entire country. And I love going.
They've lost their collective mind.
Love the views. Love the weather, no matter where you go. The wine, yes. The food, yes. The government, ugh.
You know, there are some sane people that live there.
Well, I'm sure.
There's a lot. I mean, Marcinelli lived there.
Well,
They're
certainly
not crazy.
not in the California state legislature.
No, they're right in the middle. Literally.
No, they
and
are.
figuratively, I believe.
I know that, yes.
Hey, I have a random story. I thought every now and then it would be fun to include a random story into the show. And I want to tell you my towel man story. Do you know this story?
The tally man or the towel man?
Oh my God.
Because you just said tally man, like, come Mr. Tally Man, tally me, but nah.
Towel man. Mm-hmm. So when I was first working in Washington, D.C. in the late 1990s, I had a coworker who lived in the city near a 4-star hotel. And we were working for a nonprofit, so we were making next to nothing. I think when I was first hired there right out of college, I was offered $18,500. Nice. I was making $18,500.
Nice.
No one could live on that.
No.
I couldn't live on it.
Right.
I thought I could live in my own apartment. My parents set me up, helped me move into my own 1-bedroom apartment. It only took me about 3 months to realize I could not afford the 1-bedroom apartment, so I moved in with 2 other girls.
Right.
And we had our own Three's Company thing going on. Anyway, we were working for the nonprofit for slave wages. And back then, I remember him telling us how he borrowed hotel towels on a daily basis. I'm like, well, how does this work? It was kind of fun. So he would leave his apartment in the morning and he would walk into the hotel, up to one of the floors of the hotel, and he would drop off his used towels in a maid cart. And he would take 2 new towels off the maid cart and shove them in his backpack and then go to work.
Nice.
And he did that every day. So they always had clean towels. And he wasn't really stealing. He was just borrowing them.
That's also stupid. Because laundry is not that expensive.
Of course, the hotel was providing the use of the towel and paying for the washing and drying of said towel. But I thought it was pretty cool. Of course, I would never have the balls to do that. But then I was thinking, I do somehow like the idea when we're in hotels and I'm walking down the hallway and the maid cart's there and it's filled with all those wonderful things like the little shampoos and the little soaps and stuff. And I just want to grab some because I think of him every time. I'm like, oh, I should just grab some of this shit.
Because 9 times out of 10 when we pass those carts, they're unattended.
Always, yeah, because they're inside cleaning the room.
Right.
Yeah. I would never steal. I don't want a hotel towel. But I might take.
Oh no, because they're horrible.
I might take a couple of those.
They're very rough.
Depends on the hotel you're staying in. But I might take a couple of those shampoo bottles. Speaking of little bottles, United Airlines just announced this past week that they will be returning the little bottles to their airplanes starting November 15th.
Yay!
Yeah. So they'll be selling them. American and Southwest both say they're waiting until January.
But that doesn't make any sense because we've been on American during the pandemic and we've gotten alcohol.
I'm talking about Coach.
Oh.
First class always has alcohol.
Well, you need to make that clear.
I should have made that clear.
Make that clear.
Federal mask mandates on airplanes and in airports currently goes through January 18th, 2022. We don't know yet if the federal government is going to push that date back. But I would like to think that when we get on a plane in, I don't know, January 19th to go to Vegas, that we will not have to wear masks. How wonderful would that be?
That would be great.
Now, of course, you guys have probably heard the last couple of weeks, there's been 2 huge fights on airplanes. Delta had a huge fight because someone put something in the back pocket of his seat. There was another unruly passenger on an American Airlines flight that had to land in Dallas when it was on its way to LA. It's just crazy shit. The Association of Flight Attendants has proposed a ban on all to-go alcohol at airport bars to cut down on the number of unruly passengers that are getting on the plane already a little tipsy.
Well, wait, does that mean that I can go to a restaurant and still enjoy my beverage? I just can't take it to go?
They want to ban to-go alcohol. So I don't know how many airports actually do that. We do know
Can't be many.
We do know that the Las Vegas airport does allow to-go.
Yes.
So you can go to the bar, get a drink, and take it to your gate.
Call it a roadie.
Yeah.
I need it for the road.
Most probably don't do that.
I imagine not.
But listen, we've said this until we're blue in the face. Alcohol is a legal product, and you should be able to consume it whenever and wherever you want. What they need to do, and we've said this a million times, they need to just crack down on the violence by making it punishable they need to up the punishment level.
Exactly.
Banned for life on an airplane or 10 years or whatever you decide it's going to be, a $10,000 fine.
Right. And the thing
if you're downing an airplane halfway across the country, do you know how that costs tens of thousands of dollars for the airline? Literally tens of thousands of dollars to land the plane where they're not supposed to land.
I know. And there was a whole thing on the news about this whole thing. And you remember the reports. I mean, like 6 months ago till now, there was like a report every freaking day.
Every day.
Of, taping a passenger to the seat. You got flight attendants with bloody noses.
Lost teeth.
I mean, these people are there to do a job. Be a fighter is not one of them.
But to get you from point A to point B.
Exactly. They're not there to control these types of people. Number one, it's been since 9/11, Homeland Security. Why aren't there these people? I can't think of their names.
Air marshals.
Right. Why aren't they on every flight like we've been told?
We just don't do it anymore.
We don't do it, right? Because it's money, right? But we're spending $3 trillion on people getting money for daycare because they have children.
Or $450,000 payments to Mexican families that were separated at the border. I mean,
I don't know.
Don't get me started.
Anyway, the Department of Justice is the one who is in control of putting these lawsuits together for when you act up to be able to be prosecuted because you acted up on a flight. And they're not doing it as often as people think that they should be doing it.
Well, and apparently
that was the argument.
Yeah, and apparently what I just read this past weekend is that the FAA does not have the ability to prosecute these people to the fullest, and they really need to get that duty. I
mean, these are people who should be either go to jail, fined, or the airlines have the right for this, is that you're not flying my airline
again
anymore.
Ever.
You're done.
Ever.
Absolutely done.
That's the way we fix it. And we've said it on the show.
Right. You just fix it by you saying you're not welcome on my airline anymore.
You're an asshole.
Right.
Just be nice. Be nice to people. How hard is it just to sit in your seat and just fucking sit there for 2 hours? It's really not that hard.
I don't know why we cakewalk with these fucking people. You just say, you know what? You fucked up. You did a very bad thing. You were unwelcome on my airline anymore.
It's kind of like if you, and I believe this, I think, because I've never gotten one. I know you've never gotten a DUI.
No.
If you get a DUI, perhaps you should not be driving.
I mean, your license is like suspended for at least a minimum of 3 or 6 months.
But maybe it should be more. Maybe if people knew that the consequences of these horrible things were greater, they'd stop doing them.
Right.
That's why I said, and we talked about this last week or the week before, about the people who were shoplifting from our store. Perhaps if you got 5 years in jail for stealing a stack of jeans, you wouldn't steal a stack of jeans.
There's no personal responsibility at all.
Jeff Bezos and
on the ground or in the air, there's none.
Jeff Bezos and his Blue Origin company wants a low-orbit office park.
Love it.
To replace the International Space Station.
Love it.
Hey, last night we were outside and we saw a satellite go by.
We did.
That was fun.
That's right.
After more than 2 decades in orbit, NASA's preparing to retire the International Space Station. Did you know this? The habitable satellite only has permission to operate until 2024. And while it's likely that the space station's funding could be extended to 2028, NASA does plan to decommission the ISS and find a replacement by the end of the decade. And they kind of have to.
It's old.
It's old, and a lot of the aging hardware and computers and stuff they have up there is really not with what we have today.
Yeah, I'm sure there's been so many developments that you could make a cheaper, a more sustainable, less expensive new ISS. I totally agree. The thing is, my problem is with this is that when they decommission stuff, it just stays there. And it baffles me that whenever they have a space launch, how did that not hit this shit? Well, it just seems like there's so much shit up there. How do you not go to the moon and not run into 4, 5, 10, 15, 20 satellites on the way there?
Sputnik. They must know how to navigate.
Knowing that Elon Musk and his Starlink are proposing 40,000 low orbit satellites. I mean,
you got to get through those bitches,
right? I mean, I know the Earth is big. I get it, right? But at some point, shouldn't we clean up our mess? Should we not clean it up like a big fucking net that could grab like 10, 20, 50 of those things and bring them down to the ocean? You go get them and recycle them or do something.
Is it rant over? Because I actually have an answer to your question.
I feel like waste management should start a space program and just clean up our shit.
NASA's actually planning to reuse and or deorbit the International Space Station when they're done with it.
Massive piece of equipment. How is that deorbited?
It burns up on reentry.
Does it?
Yeah.
Well, that can't be good for the atmosphere. What about climate change?
Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin has released its proposal for the new commercial space station called Orbital Reef. Along with help from companies like Sierra Space and Boeing, Blue Origin plans to build a satellite that's slightly smaller than the International Space Station and houses up to 10 people. The design includes desk space, computers, laboratories, a garden, and 3D printers, so they can print their own shit up there.
Hey, that's
print their own food.
No, not food, but you could print fixes for Parts, yeah.
The goal, the company says, is to bring mixed-use business park concept to orbit and lease out office space to interested parties, including government agencies, researchers, tourism companies, and even movie production crews.
Oh my God.
NASA's all on board with this, and they have already set aside $400 million to fund a new privately built space station.
I love this stuff. I know there's people.
And this is why you should not feel bad about the government, your tax dollars, paying $400 million for this, because what this plan would do would save the government $1 billion a year by letting a private company run the space station. I love that idea.
I love all of this. I love fucking NASA. Everyone thinks, I mean, I guess there's an argument that you feel like this whole thing is a waste of money, but you know what? The Earth is going to end soon.
Yes, that's why space is important.
Space is important. And for the human race, I mean, you got these people doing big fucking things. Yes, I know there's fucking world hunger, but you know what? There's enough money in the entire world to fix it. You got to get the governments on board to fix it. It's not Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk's problem to fix the world hunger. It's just not. They're private citizens. You have a government. A government is supposed to be there for its citizens. So fuck you and that argument. I'll never believe it. There's money there. They're just not doing the right thing.
I agree. NASA currently, meanwhile, is focused on the Artemis Program, which is an ambitious new program to establish a long-term human presence on the moon. This agency intends to send people to the moon for the first time in decades back over in 2024, which is a couple of years away. And the hopes that the project will eventually serve as a stepping stone to future exploration of Mars.
That's always baffled me that we have this floating office in space, like the ISS. It feels like it'd be much easier to have a stationary office on the moon,
yeah.
Right? I mean, that'd be cool as shit. If he's like, I'm going to the moon for a few months, and I'm going to go work, and I'm going to have a garden.
I think it's going to happen in our lifetime.
I love that. I love that idea.
Yeah.
Love it.
Do you want to talk about skimpflation?
I don't even know what it is.
So this is this new idea that, so as you know, inflation is really taking off in the United States, and everything is becoming more expensive.
Yeah.
For many myriad
Right.
factors.
Right.
COVID and so many other reasons. Mostly COVID.
Yeah.
Mostly COVID and the fact that people are stupid. Most
Yes.
people are stupid.
Yes.
Anyway, skimpflation is what companies are doing to us. And if you guys just look around, you'll see it happening. Hotels, they're skimping on daily maid service. You don't necessarily get it every day anymore.
I actually like that. I hate maid service every day. Hate it.
Okay. You're not necessarily getting coffee and waters in your room. When we stayed at the hotel in New York, there was no coffee in the room.
Right.
No waters. There was nothing in our room but a bed and a bathroom.
Are you done talking about hotels for just a second?
They're also free hot breakfasts are going away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So my question is, does that mean that the price is going to go down?
No, of course not. The whole point of this is that things are staying the same price, but the services, they're skimping. Skimpflation. Disneyland doesn't have parking lot trams. You got to walk from the parking lot to the park. Forget about 30-minute guarantees from your favorite pizza company. If you want to call your airline to change your flight, it's an 8 to 10 hour wait, and I'm not exaggerating. You also get a soggy tuna fish sandwich or a turkey sandwich wrapped in plastic in first class. And restaurants, you'll walk into a restaurant and half the tables will be empty, but they can't seat you because they don't have any staff to serve you. A lot of people have been saying that they're going to rest stops. There's no paper towels. There's no condiments. There's no napkins. There's nothing anywhere. Are these examples of excuses because of COVID and the fact that a lot of people don't want to do these menial jobs? Or is it just a dumbing down of service to save money? I think, especially a company like Disney could afford to run their trams in the parking lot to get people from these far-flung parking spaces to the front entrance of the park. They just don't want to.
It cannot cost that much to hire a bus driver and gasoline for a bus. It just can't for a day. It just can't.
I think
it just
so
can't.
Too. Anyway, skimpflation. It's a new word for you guys to use.
But the daily maid service in a hotel room, I actually like not having.
There might be a lot of people that don't,
because I just don't
feel like they need it.
I just don't need it every day.
And if you hang up your towel and you pull your bed back up, you don't necessarily need new sheets every day.
And the worst thing about us, we go to Vegas often. Mm-hmm. The worst thing I like, Vegas.
The worst thing you like?
The one thing that with Vegas is that it's a 24-hour city. Anything you want, whenever you want it, it's there, right? So I could go downstairs at 8 a.m. and start getting vodka sodas from the bartender, and I'm ready for a little nap by 10:30. 10:30 is probably when the maid's in my fucking room. And
so you'd rather go upstairs and not have to worry about them being in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't get our bedroom turned down every freaking week. I could use the same towel for 3 days. Fine.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
But we do need the coffee. And don't you want your mint on the pillow?
No. I don't need it. I just don't need it.
Let's skip down to That's Entertainment. Can we talk about entertainment real quick? Squeaky clean holiday movies are bigger than ever. You guys know this. Lifetime and Hallmark have upped the ante on their holiday movies every year for the last couple of years.
I wish I owned that shit because it is a gold mine. Gold mine.
I think Lifetime has 100 this year. 100.
Really?
We now have GAC Family with a full slate of saccharine sweet holiday fare. GAC Family launched in late September on basic cable. It was first formally called A Great American Country. It was a country music channel, kind of like MTV. They've switched over. They're going to show the saccharine sweet, squeaky clean, family fare love stories.
It's big business, man, and this makes the third one. It makes me seem like that there's like this thing But I don't want it to become so big that everything else is going to come this whole thing. And like, I'm not going to have
you're still gonna have dirty stuff. You're still going to have dirty stuff. You're still going to have fucks and retards and Eskimos. But you also have to deal with the squeaky queen. Squeaky queen. Squeaky queen.
Yeah.
That'd be a good name for a drag queen. Anyway, there's going to be a lot more of it this year. I really think that instead of writing the books that I write, I should sit down at my computer and write one of these movies. Because it's just formulaic and it's a gold mine. It's so easy, right?
Perfect.
It's the same story every time. People love it. They eat it up. HBO Succession, which we're really getting into right now, we're loving the third season. It was just announced that the third season, which was originally billed as their last season, they're getting a fourth season. Because HBO knows that this is one of their biggest hits. So they want it to keep coming.
It's a great freaking show.
We heard an episode behind. We did not watch Sunday's episode yet as of the taping of this show, but we might watch it tonight.
Yeah.
It's a great show. And the dialogue and the relationships of the brothers and sisters, I just absolutely love it all.
And if you know what we're talking about, my least favorite character is Shiv.
Yeah. Agree.
I don't feel like if I was writing that character, she'd be an all-out bitch. And she's not that. And I don't know why. I want her to be this all-out, this
want her
bitch,
to be more.
take hold, be more, and she's just...
Maybe she will.
I'm sad, but whatever.
No, maybe...
I'm sad, but this happened.
Maybe there's more coming for Shiv.
She's always sad, but whatever. And like, fucking grab it by the balls like you were given a fucking job. You were handed it to it, and you were like, okay, I really want it, but I gotta have this.
All right,
I can't. Oh, I hate her so much.
If you guys don't watch the show, then you have no idea what we're talking about.
I hate her so much.
All right, he hates Shiv on Succession on HBO.
I do.
All right, well, maybe it'll get better tonight. Maybe she will redeem herself for you.
She's my Carol from Walking Dead.
There you go.
I want her to be so much more, and she just can't pull through.
So if Shiv lived next door, would you go over and play with her pussy if your cat died?
No, because she's a bitch.
Judy Justice premiered on Amazon Prime's free IMDb TV yesterday.
Hey.
You guys know Judge Judy. She was on syndicated broadcast TV for 25 years, making a buckload. Buckload sounds good.
Buttload.
$45 million a year she was making towards the end of Judge Judy. She left that show. Her estimated worth is $440 million. It's no wonder she has her own jet.
Right.
She's now wearing a burgundy robe, lost the lace collar. She's changed her hair. And she has two legal assistants that sit on each side of her for the new show. And it's estimated that she's getting paid $25 million a year for this new show. She signed to do 120 episodes for IMDb over 2 seasons. That comes to about $208,000 per episode.
Fuck you, Judge Judy. Fuck you, Judge Judy.
The new format is exactly the same with the kinds of low-dollar petty cases and generally lower-class people, I assume. But they have up the limit. It was on the broadcast show, it was $5,000. It's now $10,000 that people can sue for.
How does the show determine that? I mean, they have to follow the law, right?
Well, I mean, in small claims court, you're going for a certain amount of money. So that's okay. So you're saying you didn't pay me rent for 8 months. You owe me $4,050.
Right, but you're telling me a show is deciding this because you can't do the law. The law is the law.
But what people are doing in this case is they're turning over their rights to a real trial, and they're saying, "I'm going to let Judge Judy do it, and we're going to abide by what she says." So it's basically
I thought that was always the case.
But that's right. But it's basically a mediation.
I guess I don't understand how the show decides that the case is up from 5,000 now it's 10.
It's a new show. They've decided to go up to $10,000.
A new show doesn't decide law.
Don't scream. It's not law, dumbass. This is a fucking show. People are deciding to forego going to a real court to be on this show. And they're basically agreeing, both parties agreeing, that they will agree with whatever Judge Judy decides. So they're mediating, basically. It's an arbitration instead of an actual court case. But they're both agreeing before they walk in the door to the studio, we will agree legally to abide by what Judge Judy says. So they've upped it from 5,000 to 10,000.
That makes no sense to me.
I don't know why you can't get your mind around that.
Because a show can't determine what the statutes are in a law.
They're not going by the fucking law, you dumbass. It's an arbitration. It's completely void of the law.
Okay, so you're telling me if you and I walk in there, I was like, I want to sue you for $10,000
Yes.
because you haven't paid rent. But if I took it to a Judge Smith who follows the law, I could get $50,000 or all of my money.
It depends. So if you go to small claims court, there's a limit. So you can go to small claims court, and whatever the limit is, that maximum on that case.
I get that.
Then they don't deal with anything over that minimum. You have to go to regular court.
I get that.
All right. So what is your problem with this?
My problem is you're not telling me what Judge Judy, what her court is. And I don't understand.
It's a fake fucking TV court, dude.
Well, obviously not. If people are allowed to sue up to this $10,000 and it's legally binding.
It's legally binding because they sign a fucking contract that say it will be. Because they're literally, the two parties are going in there and saying, we will abide by whatever Judge Judy decides. That's how it works.
None of this makes sense to me.
Well, it doesn't have to make sense to you.
It's just not how it works.
It's exactly how it works on fucking Judge Judy. She did it for 25 years at CBS.
So the cases don't matter, is what
it does matter. But
it does matter. So law does matter, but the show decides. I think you need to do more research.
I'm telling you that's the way it is.
Okay.
And yes, the show decides because Judge Judy decides. They're signing over the rest of their lives to her.
I'm going to agree because I have to pee.
Well, and because we've also come to the end of the show.
There you go.
Don't forget to watch Binge Bum, your show all about streaming video. It's on this Friday, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. I don't know what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, I think the news is going to be pretty late because there hasn't been a lot going on.
All right.
But we got 3 more days before.
All right. We're going to watch some more shit before we get there.
That's right.
All right. We love you guys. New Zealand, reach out to us. We want to know who you are. And if you give us permission, we'll put your name on the show next week.
I want to know who this Kiwi is.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot. I feel like this could be like a thing for the show.
Could be.
As we pick this one random person
country
from a country, is like, reach out to us. We want to know who this one person is.
Could win a Swish Edition t-shirt.
Hey, we can do that.
It costs us $1,000 to mail it there. But...
Right, it costs us a fortune to get it there, but we'll get you one.
All right, listen, I gotta go. I gotta go next door.
Yeah. Bye.
It's not law, dumbass. This is a fucking show.